700-word life of Alvin Adams, undistinguished student, do-gooder, and confirmed curmudgeon. These lines were penned on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of my graduating class, Yale College, 64. Born in 1942, the second of three, I was brought into this world by Elizabeth and Alvin Adams, the latter an executive with Pan American World Airways, who armed me with a sense of the world outside. Off to Exeter Academy in New Hampshire at age 14, and then to my alma mater. It has been a long, fast road these 50 years. After Yale, I went on to a JD at Vanderbilt Law School and the New York State Bar. Never practiced the law, but entered the Foreign Service, won no vote on my oral exam for presumed lack of a sense of humor. Can you imagine? I spent 30 years on the front lines of democracy and human rights in far-flung places. My first assignment was to Vietnam, the so-called pacification program, where I learned Vietnamese and served as in a dodgy region outside Da Nang for 2 years, then to the embassy, where I was an aide to an old blue, our ambassador, Ellsworth Bunker. I married a lovely and strong-spirited Vietnamese girl by the name of My An, who shared my career and mastered its many challenges with enormous grace and good cheer. I also adopted 2 Vietnamese boys. One, Tum was his name, I lost in an explosion of gun turret number 2 on the USS Iowa in 1989. The younger son, Lex, is well established as a financial officer in a sports venue software company in Southern California. He is happily married and the loving, albeit hard-pressed, father of 2 girls, which makes me the grandfather. From Vietnam, my career moved forward with another blue, John Negroponte, who was then Henry Kissinger's staff person for the Paris negotiations. There followed 2 years at the National Security Council, stints as Henry Kissinger's staff aide at the Department of State, economics training, managing a North-South negotiation on technology transfer, and then more staff work with Secretaries of State Haig and Schultz. I eventually moved into an assignment as ambassador to Djibouti, doubtless one of the most exotic places on the face of the earth. Djibouti was followed by counterterrorism work with yet another old blue, Jerry Bremer. I finally wound up, or down as the case may be, my career as United States Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to Haiti and to Peru. In Haiti, I was known fondly and proudly, I would say, not as His Excellency, but as the loaded donkey, a long story whose moral is a little knowledge of Creole can be a dangerous thing. There, I humbly submit, I did help make a difference by working to bring about the country's first democratic elections in its long history of independence, second longest in this hemisphere. Father Jean-Bertrand Aristide was elected and then removed in a coup after 9 months, a story more complex than the published accounts. In Peru, I worked with President Alberto Fujimori, or tried to, and was shadowed everywhere by a team of 15 bodyguards. Remember the shining path? My portfolio of issues included counterterrorism, democracy, human rights, among other issues. This was a tall order, but on all accounts, we managed to make some progress with El Chino, as the president was then known. Once again, a long story worth telling elsewhere. Fujimori is in jail now, having returned voluntarily to Peru from exile. Lord knows what he was thinking when he did so. I retired in 1996. I took a job then as CEO President of the United Nations Association of the United States. I worked to keep alive an appreciation of the UN in this country against high odds, which included North Carolina's arch-conservative Senator Jesse Helms, Chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. My great moment? Putting on the dinner at which Ted Turner made big news, promising $1 billion of his own money in support of United Nations causes. From New York and the United Nations Association, I left for Hawaii. I lived on Waikiki for 10 years and hosted a local radio program. From Honolulu, life took me to Buenos Aires for several more years, doubtless one of the world's most personable cities. There I hosted another radio program, attempted to learn Italian. Some 50% of Argentines are of Italian extraction, and put an Argentine spin to my Spanish. There were a few other places along the way, but I now live quietly and singly in Portland, Oregon, doing my bit to keep Portland weird. It seems that weird places are a specialty of mine. I have 2 granddaughters, give tours at the local history museum, and take courses at Portland State University, where I have developed a passion for geology, of all things, having escaped all science throughout my schooling. Bottom line, never ever stop learning or engaging in the world around you, most especially with the people whose path you cross. There is for me a suitable epitaph to which I still aspire. Quote, "There is not a blade of grass that grows that does not interest me." End quote. Thomas Jefferson. That's all she wrote.